What's up, everyone? We got another Best Ball Mania draft that we're going to be doing today. I am waiting for that draft to get going, but I'll kick off this stream, so let's do this. Yo. Hope everyone's doing well. I hope you also, if you were with us yesterday or with me yesterday, hope you saw the Trevor Lawrence thumbnail. That was on purpose, just so you folks know. But right now, waiting on 3 people to join, waiting for one person to join. Maybe some of you ended up joining to be part of this. But yeah, I got to change my setup a little bit here. I really hope I don't get a back half pick. I feel like I've been getting a lot of okay, 104 is fun. This is good. 104 works for me. What's going on, Kevin? Good to see you. Scott, time to make some money? Yeah, hopefully, man. Hopefully. In the 104, I'm cool with going with any of these guys. If it's Jamar Chase, that's fine. If it's Tyreek Hill, that's fine. If CeeDee Lamb falls, that's fantastic. I'm still not on Justin Jefferson over Jamar Chase. I think that, I think that, obviously Justin, I'm not going to make this a big deal because it's not a big deal. And I'm not going to, have strong conviction. But I do think that, quarterback wise, situationally, I do have some fear about Justin Jefferson, right? Sam Darnold and JJ McCarthy. We have historically not seen very good numbers from wide receivers who have rookie quarterbacks under center. And that a lot of that has to do with the fact that those teams are worse per play in terms of yards per play, and they're worse at scoring touchdowns. Kevin said that he did a fast puppy earlier today, took Brees at the 101 with a misclick, but trying to not let it ruin your day. Yeah, speaking of running backs 101, it wasn't even Christian McCaffrey, it was Bijan Robinson in this draft. I hope that sets the tone. I want a wild draft. I want some wild stuff happening. Jamar Chase goes 2. What is going on right now? So I'm getting either CMC or CeeDee Lamb. I'm getting CeeDee Lamb at 104 right now. We'll do that all day. We'll take that all day long. Whenever I get a pick like that, I'm always like, man, I don't want to screw up this draft now. This is going to be a fun one. Yeah, it's going to be a wild one, man. It's going to be a wild one. Hopefully more of you guys are able to jump in here. I know this isn't the typical 2:00 Wednesday stream that I do, but like I said, trying to do more streams, trying to build this YouTube channel up a little bit. Let me go to the draft board. I'm also always open for questions. Even Amon-Ra St. Brown over Justin Jefferson isn't like something we always see. Garrett Wilson at 108. I mean, this is a different draft. This is different. Is that the Osimo? Brees Hall. Oh, look, Dave Kluge's in here. There we go. Kluge getting the value on Brees Hall. JJ, need to wrap up these puppy drafts wherein you sit on that clock hard, brother. No, look, it's not that I'm sitting on the. I am so done with slow drafts at this point that I had in those puppies, not the current puppies, but the last iteration of the puppy. I had 120, 130 slow drafts going, and it's just hard to manage. And I am not in a hurry to make picks because I just don't have the urge to make picks in those slow. Some of my lineups in those, not only have I been autoed, but I just am not giving it the right attention, which is why I'm doing only lives and fast drafts for Best Ball Mania moving forward. I just feel like I have a better grasp on the board with Best Ball Mania, or sorry, with fast drafts. And Best Ball Mania being, more important to me. I'm gonna do all of those fast. I'm gonna definitely slow down on the slows. I'm very overweight on Ricky Pearsall on my best ball. Should I be concerned? I mean, I think there's a little bit of concern there. I don't know what very overweight really entails and what you mean by it in terms of exposure, but I think there's some issue. I mean, it could obviously pay off, but there's some issue because he could realistically go through his rookie season and not see a lot of work. Like I've drafted him for sure. Don't get me wrong, but that would be my concern. Because we know that, I mean, like, I wouldn't even put it past San Francisco to even use a lot of like Jawan Jennings in those 3 wide sets and not even just Ricky Pearsall. All right, let's go back to this other screen. So this scenario where, these players that are left, trying to think about like differentiation. Jalen Waddle could have gone with CD. That would have been nice. But like, Debo and CD, sure. I think we just go with Saquon and get the correlation there and then kind of see what the draft shows. It's my second day in a row actually going Saquon with CD. Second day in a row. My 2 out of 3 drafts I've done that. I did a live stream with Scott Connor, Destination Devi last night. My team it was good on paper through 5, and then nothing really fell into place. So I didn't like the team that much. Devontae Smith goes right after Saquon, so I'm not going to get that stack. Was hoping this was going to be a Rocket League stream. You don't want to watch me play Rocket League. I'm like low diamond Rocket League doubles mostly. Or like high plat at times. I'm not that good at Rocket League. Cup is my favorite pick in the 28 to 33 range. Yeah, I like Cup a lot too. I mean, this is going to be interesting though. Cup just went. Like, Debo's still there. Mike Evans is still. One of these two would be really interesting to pair with. And I actually think that going Neighbors even works with this. I mean, I might actually just go Neighbors. There goes Evans. I'm assuming Debo's going to go here. And so I'll probably just have to. I think I'm going to go Neighbors over Metcalf. Wow, Debo. Did something happen to Debo? Did I miss something today, guys? This feels strange. Did something happen with Debo Samuel? Debo at 304 just doesn't happen. Especially with the Ayuk stuff, right? But yeah, now we're open to like Sam Laporta falling to get the correlation with San Francisco. The new receiver show on Netflix. I haven't watched the receiver show on Netflix. I wasn't that big on the quarterback show. People hated me for my take on that. That I just didn't. I found it pretty mediocre. I only watched like the first 2 or 3 episodes though. But yeah, this opens us up. I doubt Laporta falls, but it at least opens us up to that. I kind of want to force wide receiver because we went running back early and we pivoted. I clearly need to do more Thursday afternoon drafts. Yeah, apparently. Some of these picks are, I mean, even Tank Dell is a little bit high. Tank Dell over Neighbors. And like, not to say that I don't understand it, but we just usually see Neighbors go a lot earlier. And Diggs usually goes ahead of Tank Dell too. Rich says most recent news search for Debo is calls out spoiled 49ers fans. Yeah, I mean, I'll take it then. If that's the news we're working off of with Debo falling to 28 overall. I like the wide receiver show better. Only watch the first episode. It's just a fun hype show, not a lot of substance. Yeah, I mean, like, I get it. Like, I think my problem with the quarterback show was that, like, it was just a lot like other shows that we had seen. There wasn't that much from what I had seen, like behind the scenes, like new type of stuff. Um, and so I wasn't like overly like it just seemed like Hard Knocks type, right? Which is great. I like Hard Knocks. It's just if you're gonna, it's like Hard Knocks. You're at least watching, a dozen plus players, whereas this is just three. I could think about going Jalen Hurts here, and then getting Goddard later. It's on my radar. What do you guys think of that? Although Hurts and Barkley, obviously, I think I might just play it safe. When you're not live streaming, do you draft a pass catcher and immediately afterwards star all the stack partners to make sure you don't miss them? Yeah, a lot of times when I'm in a fast draft, I'm not as like I don't do that as much. I think I'm passing on Jalen Hurts here. I don't know if the correlation is like strong enough with him and Saquon. I would go Hurts if I had Devontae Smith. And look, the person next to me, I'm going to make their day. I'm going to give them Jalen Hurts because they're the ones who got Devontae Smith. So this is going to be the Jalen Hurts pick right here. It better be. It better be Jalen Hurts. But yeah, Christian Kirk opens things up for, in the fifth, I could reach a little bit and get like a Calvin Ridley. Get some of that correlation going. Yep, there goes Jalen Hurts. How do you like your SFB team? I'm a fellow Michelangelo. Nice. I don't know. It's pretty average. I'm not like, we have a pretty sharp room. Is there data that supports running back quarterback stacks? I'm probably not the person to talk on that. But you're stacking teams. It's similar to DFS. You're stacking teams. You can get that like huge blowout win. And all those guys can be involved. But at the same time, you're also like for best ball and stacking like running backs with quarterbacks and wide receivers and stuff. You're trying to get these offenses that are blowing up at the right time or all outpace ADP because the offense just does really, really well. And so the entire offense will end up outperforming ADP and doing well. This will be fun if this falls. Sorry, I'm focusing on this next pick. But like part of the allure of stacking is the fact that if the offense ends up performing really well, then everyone in that offense, dude, the least you could do with me giving you Jalen Hurts was giving me Travis Etienne there, Goodness. What's Washington? Oh, Washington gets Philly. Let's go Terry McLaurin. So we got a week 16 correlation there with Terry McLaurin and Saquon Barkley. It's a fun little room. What is correlation? Correlation is when you are getting pieces of your lineup and pairing them together where one action on a football field impacts that player to some degree, right? So there's correlation between a quarterback and a pass catcher because if a quarterback throws a touchdown pass, his pass catcher might be the one who scores that. And there's more upside when you do that. And you need that upside in a tournament environment and in an environment like best ball, right? There's also correlation when you stack games. And so I'm looking at the playoffs of this tournament, week 15, 16, and 17. I have a schedule right here that I stare at. I have week 17s memorized, of course, because I'm a best ball bro. But you get you want the correlation of those game stacks, or you want those game stacks because you want that correlation of if that team gets in a shootout, then the other team might also be playing catch up and trying to throw the ball a lot and getting a lot of fantasy points, et cetera, et cetera. And you want that back and forth nature because that's a lot of fantasy points that can be generated. So for instance, I got Jacksonville right here, Christian Kirk. They play Tennessee week 17. It's a game I really like, potentially shooting out. That means that I'll get Christian Kirk and then, I'll at least look at like Tony Pollard or Tajay Spears or DeAndre Hopkins and get a pairing like that. And then maybe Trevor Lawrence as a quarterback, et cetera, et cetera. I mean, hopefully that makes sense. I could explain that a lot better if I'm not doing it while drafting a BBM team, but that's the gist of correlation and why you're doing it. Would you ever take two quarterbacks in the same week 17 game if you're getting good value? I've done that, yeah, but I generally have done that only when I get a third quarterback. Like, I think you can get away with it doing like Trevor Lawrence, Will Levis, and another because you're not using that much equity and draft capital on those quarterbacks. So it's not as big of a deal. But if I got like Jalen Hurts and Dak Prescott, I wouldn't do that because I'm not really doing that with quarterback to begin with. I'm not really getting two. Sorry, I guess should change this. I'm not getting two quarterbacks with that much draft cap, generally speaking, at least consistently. How many of your players do you want correlated? I mean, as many as you kind of can. But I'm not trying to get like only one giant game stack because that's almost impossible because there's only going to be like 3 players per offense that are going to be relevant in fantasy football, like 3 to 4, or sorry, 3 to 5, let's say. And so it's really not possible. But what I'm trying to do is get other, did DeAndre Hopkins go? Yeah, he did. What I'm trying to do though is we're going to go with Brian Thomas here. I'm going to try to get other game stacks though. So for instance, Jacksonville, I'm stacking them right now, right? I've Christian Kirk and Brian Thomas. And then I took Terry McLaurin and I referenced how Washington gets Philadelphia in week 16. Well, I have Saquon Barkley. Well, also Saquon Barkley, I picked him in the second round because I picked CeeDee Lamb in the first round, and CeeDee Lamb, Dallas, gets Philadelphia in week 17. So you get that correlation too. You want to build off of that as the draft goes on. You don't necessarily just want 2 guys in that game. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but you don't, if you're game stacking, you want more than that. But that's the gist. So I've got my anchor running back. This is a team that could go Dallas stack if like a Jake Ferguson falls, but he's not falling that much to this range. And then like Dak, but we'll see what happens. Could get Goddard later. One of your best ball bro guests mentioned that the more stacks people had, the more success they were likely to have. I think that was probably Leone. But yeah, I mean, like I think the reason for that is twofold though. Like, and he mentioned it a little bit too, where it's like not only is there correlation and that's good for EV, your expected value and all that, but man, what is this team doing? Brother, you don't even have, oh my gosh, what is going on here? I mean, I get the Trey McBride stuff. Naked Anthony Richardson and naked Joe Burrow in the one spot to the person who drafted Bijan Robinson. All right, let's see here. Yeah, we're probably going wide receiver with this next pick. I mean, this is another situation. I'm just going to get value because Romadunze usually goes a lot earlier than this, and just get my 6th wide receiver and just try to work off of correlation from here, off of stacking from here. Chicago doesn't have that much correlation to this lineup, but gives us an out with like Caleb Williams later. Not that I am like hoping for that. But yeah, this side of the draft, man, is wild. But back to the thing about the correlation stuff and teams that had more stacking tend to do better. I think it's twofold. I think that it's good. It's plus EV. It's smart to do that. But also the teams that are doing that are probably looking at this stuff more in depth than the teams who are not doing that. Like, no offense to team 1, because anything can happen. But this is a poorly researched team and a poorly researched team build, right? Like there's no stacking. Anthony Richardson, you're gonna have to get Josh Downs and Adonai Mitchell, but like Joe Burrow, you didn't get T. Higgins or Jamar Chase. You took Bijan Robinson 101. Like all of these things could happen, right? I'm just saying that you're not plus EV and you're not thinking about that from an expected value standpoint by drafting a team like this. Jake Ferguson goes way above ADP, of course. It's just one of those drafts. This is the thing, yesterday, everyone was making fun of me in the stream, and I was making fun of myself because I took Trevor Lawrence like a round and a half higher than ADP because I had so many Jaguars. And, I get it. It was funny, whatever. But this is part of the reason why I do it, because it's the Wild West sometimes out there. And you get some weird picks, The Joe Burrow pick. Like if I had Jamar Chase and someone took Joe Burrow at the 6-7 turn, I'd be tilting my face off. My understanding is stacking increases your ceiling, but also lowers your floor. Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow stacks last. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it can lower your floor for sure. You want the variance. This is why I get the question literally every week for my podcast, and I've answered it before on the show. But like the question is, should I be stacking in my season long league? Well, think about the environment and why you're stacking in the first place. Why do people stack and why do people build teams the way they do in DFS? The reason that you do that is because you're playing against thousands of different lineups in a lot of these tournament settings, and you need that upside. You need that high variance. You need that stack to hit, and you need that connection to be made. By the way, the weird thing here is that CJ Stroud still fell to Kluge over here, and he got the naked Stroud because he took Joe Mixon. So he's got a little bit of, and he's got Zay Flowers. So he's got that week 17 correlation. It'll be interesting to see what Kluge does with Stroud. I'm assuming he'll get like Dalton Schultz and probably reach for him a little bit. But the reason you're, in a season managed season long league, when it comes to stacking, you're playing a 50-50 game. You're playing against one opponent. The reason you would stack in season long is because you want, or you have a feeling about that team. And if the quarterback hits, then his pass catchers are probably going to hit. But it's not nearly as necessary because you don't necessarily need that ceiling. And the difference is too, is that in DFS, you're going to get way higher scores than you're going to get in season long because the player pool is anyone in a given week. That's not the case in a season long draft. I think I'm going to force it here because because drafters are just being bonkers. Although, is this the Ferguson team? Yeah, Dak is going to go here. So dumb. And he didn't. You like that reverse jinx a little bit? I think I got to take Dak here and ensure that we have a stack. Because people are wild, man. And it's not like I took him that far off of ADP. So I got Dax. I actually just listened to Armchair Expert, Dak Shepard show, so that was top of mind. So I got the Dak and Lamb stack with Saquon bring back. We can get maybe one of the Dallas running backs a little bit later. We could get Brandon Cooks a little bit later. But it would have been nice to have Jake Ferguson on this team. Maybe I could have reached for him instead of Roma Dunze, but that would have been a reach. Because Ferguson will fall to where I got Dak. And then I could push it a little bit with Dak if I had gotten Ferguson. But I think this ended up being okay still. Next pick, though, you got to be thinking running back. I have an idea with the next pick. I don't want to totally say it out loud. This is going to probably be a 3 tight end build, too, which I'm cool with. The thing with going with wide receivers early, though, that's a little bit frustrating and difficult is that you are handcuffing yourself to a lack of flexibility with later stacks. So the issue we're running into now is that, you got to get Trevor Lawrence, let's say, or Jaden Daniels. And I could get Jaden Daniels here. I think Dak is a good enough anchor at quarterback to not force the issue. I don't absolutely need to get that piece. And so instead, I like Zach Moss more, but I like the correlation here. So I'm going to go Tajay Spears and get Spears with Brian Thomas and Christian Kirk. Because they play each other in that week 17 game. So even if I don't get Trevor Lawrence in the next round, let's say, it would be fitting if I got T-Law though, right? After making him the cover boy on this thumbnail today. But if I don't get him, it's not the end of the world. I have some correlation there. And, this next round or two is going to be pretty telling because Jaden Daniels, Brock Purdy, Caleb Williams, and Trevor Lawrence, all of them are stack worthy for my wide receivers. Coleman, Samuel, Shakir. You can only stack one with Allen. Who's your money on? I think Coleman still has the most upside of the three. Probably in that order. I know that's the order of ADP. Like Curtis Samuel's a good player. I just think that we have to question, like people are like, oh, he hasn't had a good quarterback. I get it. Like I'm not a Curtis Samuel hater by any means, but you also have to wonder why his target shares haven't been higher, because that's not a quarterback statistic per se. That's a getting open, getting reads, being talented type statistic. And he hasn't been above the 20% mark throughout his career. You have to wonder why, right? That's why we look at like target share and yard share and all these market share related statistics, because they're agnostic to who that quarterback is. Like, is his production lower because of the quarterback stuff? Yeah. Like he hasn't played with good quarterbacks. This is a fun build. I needed this team. I feel good about this team so far. Goddard's another guy on that's on the radar for the next pick if he falls. We're still 9 picks away here. I think we got to probably try to go QB if there's one there of the guys. But we'll see. We'll see what's there. Brock Purdy goes here. That's the Ayuk team, so I'm not surprised. It's weird when I'm seeing Ayuk go at like the turn like this, because I mean, like I understand they got Gibbs and Ayuk from the standpoint of that Week 17 game. There goes Trevor Lawrence, of course. Osimo had Evan Ingram though. So again, I'm not like that tilted over that specific pick, because I have a stack elsewhere, or I still have that stack rather, and I have some potential elsewhere. Still 2 quarterbacks I could go after here, the rookies. It's gonna cut it close though. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's a little bit scary. Yep, there goes Caleb. Let's see. Hopefully they at least had They had a bear. Now Jaden Daniels is the one that we need to fall here. This team has a quarterback. Does this team have a quarter? Yeah, I mean, every team ahead of me has a quarterback, and none of them have a commander because, oh, there he goes. Cool. So we lost out on all of the quarterbacks because of the quarterback run. So now we're going to have to pair a quarterback with a tight end is the look, right? Because all of these wide receivers that I drafted, this was going to turn out to be a really good draft until all of that just happened. We're fine, though. We can draft some running backs. Maybe go Dallas Goedert and lock in at least one tight end and still go with a 3 tight end build to get a cheap stack later. I'm not really super high in Javonte. I think we go Brandon. We'll probably go Cooks, right? Probably go Cooks. Let's do it and get our 7th wide receiver. We might be done at wide out with this group. Maybe one more depending on what we got to do with stacking. I went way too far in BBM my first year and regret it. Too expensive to learn. Yeah, I mean, I think that you can always try out like puppies and stuff like that to really get a feel for things and then switch over. Someone said Dallas Goedert for the bring back. Yeah, I mean, if Goddard's there in the next round, that's totally fine. Quarterbacks are going way, way earlier. I'm very glad that I took Dak Prescott. Like, very glad. Because, this is a situation where I could even go Will Levis later with Tajay Spears and get Chigakonkwo and Tyler Boyd, right? But what I need to make sure I'm doing in the next, 5 rounds is not get a wide receiver, because I want to have at least some flexibility to maybe have an 8 wide receiver build. And use that last wide receiver on a on a stack. All right, we're about to be up again. This one's going to have to be a running back. I don't know if I really want to force it with Zeke, because I think like Corum has more upside than Zeke does. There's no. Let's see what the Rams. The Rams get San Francisco. I'm feeling Corum more than Zeke. I know that people might say go Zeke, go with the stack. But we might even be able to get Dowdle next. I think we go Corum and we just go upside. Let's do it. Corum's one of those players, I think, it's similar to Zach Charbonnet, where he's being drafted around his projection, and then there's the upside of injury and stuff like that. But we're also drafting mid-July, where something could happen in August, right? Like we have a larger time frame of like news happening and players getting injured. Is there a limit on how many guys you stack from the same team? I mean, not necessarily. I'm not like high enough on Zeke, and I think in this scenario, I'm cool with having Cooks and Lamb with Dak and then the bring back of Saquon. And I also kind of want to be able to open things up to possible stacks elsewhere. Like maybe we get a Stafford, Demarcus Robinson, Blake Corum stack, right? That's my logic, at least with the Corum pick. Zeke did go a few picks later. Things were looking really good until that quarterback run. That quarterback run really ruined me. I literally had these four quarterbacks: Brock, T-Law, Caleb Williams, and Jaden Daniels. All four of them were perfect for my build, and then they all just went right before me. This was the one, this person who didn't have any Falcon or Commander and already had Patrick Mahomes. Like, come on, man. Yeah, someone said go for Levis and Boyd Lake for QB2. Yeah, I like that too. And I think you can get away with Dak and Levis, because the problem with like the way that quarterback is kind of playing out right now is you fear a 3 quarterback build with Dak, but I'm high enough on Levis that I'd be cool with that. So yeah, we'll see if Dowdle's there when this comes back. Could go Freiermuth to get at least some stability at tight end. But we're kind of in that range where we need to get probably another running back. Freiermuth would be fine, even though I don't have like a chief or anything like that. But Freiermuth opens up to a 3 quarterback build of Russell Wilson in the last round. Again, it's just all about having that like flexibility. But Will Levis makes the most sense for sure. I would definitely agree with that. And you could go with like a Chig as well as Tyler Boyd. There goes Freiermuth. So I'm fine with either one of these running backs. Hopefully they go with like a Marshawn, and then I can get a Dowdle, and then that'll make the Zeke. Yeah, this makes the Zeke pass look a lot better, because I don't see a massive difference between Dowdle and Zeke at the moment, and getting Dowdle still with this Dallas stack feels pretty good. Rich said after the pod this week, I'm married to 2592. Yeah, 2592 is pretty hot. I'm definitely gonna have 3 though with tight end. Like almost definitely. I love Musgrave, and this is a spot where like there's not like what am I doing? It's not like an obvious path. There's just not a lot of correlation with Musgrave. I guess it's Chicago. Or no, they don't get Green Bay. It's the one team, yeah, in that like grouping. I definitely don't want to get one of these wide receivers to stay flexible. What does your Brock Bowers exposure look like so far? I'm probably at like, I don't know. I can check at the end of this or after I make this pick. So people are reaching a little bit on running back. I might go running back. Dang, someone already took Geno. My fear is Levis not being there. Man, but he's so far. It's 100, such a reach. Let's go running back. I guess Jaleel. Not much correlation, but we're getting a piece. We're getting some depth at running back. We can probably end it at running back now too. I could have gone Musgrave, but this is going to be dart throw city at tight end. But I agree. I think Musgrave is a really good pick this year. Just a little read of the board and the way that things are kind of going. I'm hoping that there's a lot of wide receivers taken. Obviously this side of the board, you have two quarterbacks here. You have Kluge is going to be sharp, so he's not going to take a Levis without a piece of that game. Maybe Osimo would go that direction. Calvin Ridley's right here. They have Caleb. I mean, that could be the Levis pick. I wasn't going to pick Levis 30 picks above ADP. And maybe it comes back to bite me, but there's so many other quarterbacks that are ranked ahead still. Don't forget Bo Nix. Yeah, Bo Nix with Mims or Franklin. Lucas Kroll. Hail to Pitt. But yeah, Bo Nix is also on the table now that I got Jaleel. I get Jaleel in these kind of builds where I'm like, okay, I got some instability with like Blake Corum, kind of want some balance. I already have my anchor. Like I'm cool with this running back room and being done with it. Because I think McLaughlin at least has a decent floor to get some work in that offense. There goes Cousins. So Kluge has. Oh, Kluge didn't get Dalton Schultz. He's probably just thinking like Noah Brown in the last round. What we should do is just put him on massive tilt and just take Noah Brown in like round 16. Okay, there goes Stafford. I think this is the big one. They might be panicking about a quarterback. This could be Levis. This could very easily be Levis. It'd be a reach for Levis, but the way this draft is going, all right, that's good. Now, where's the Hopkins team? Right here. Aaron Rodgers instead of Levis for the Hopkins team because they have Mike Williams. This team has Jaden Daniels and Patrick Mahomes, so hopefully they don't go quarterback. Jordan Love and nothing, but they don't have a piece of, they might go Bryce Young or Baker. They got Chris Godwin. Just don't do anything dumb. And then this, if this isn't Levis, then we'll get Levis because this next team has two quarterbacks and it's Lamar and Tua. But maybe they do. And then we pivot. Right? It's the way it goes. Okay. I would have probably gone Baker there. I'm forcing it. I'm doing it now. 12 picks above ADP. I'm fine with that. And I'm fine with that quarterback room too. Like the thing with Levis is that he's probably going to stay as a starter throughout the season unless an injury happens. See, now we got Baker going off the board. And that team already has 3 quarterbacks, including Jalen Hurts. That's why you don't wait, right? I might go like a Hunter Henry or something if he's still there. But Chig is on the table. These rounds, I'm really just kind of looking for like, stability if I don't have a position, but then correlation if I do. JJ keeping his head on a swivel, playing chess in the room. What's up, Kyle? Good to see you, man. You got to slow roll yourself and scroll up enough so you can see if they picked, but not who they picked in slow reveal. Yeah. Oh man, I'm on the clock. Let's go Hunter Henry and get a tight end who I think is at least relatively stable. 14 picks past ADP. Do I love the correlation here? No. Not with that. But it's a 3 tight end build. we're going to probably have a weird tight end group anyway. It gives us something. And then we work off of this Levis pick. We already have Spears. Maybe we get these guys in the following rounds. You know, I'm picking at 189. They have 190-ish ADP. Yeah, there goes the Rodgers stack a little bit. Malachi Corley, they had Mike Williams. Obviously not the Garrett Wilson team, but oh no, it is the Garrett Wilson team. I forgot they drafted him a little bit early. I am interested to see how Kluge stacks CJ Stroud. I'll talk to him. I'll probably DM him after this. Michael Wilson, who I like as just a general pick, but he's pairing him up with Trey Benson there. And Marvin Harrison. There's Eli Mitchell. Ben Stinnett. Hey, JJ, podcast fan for a few years now. Keep up the great stuff. Thanks, Tim. Appreciate it, brother. Today I'm wearing the East Coast Dads gear, by the way. You guys can see. It's freeing to not wear a hat on stream as well. When my hair gets longer like this, because I need a haircut right now, it can get out of control whenever I'm not wearing a hat. But my hats also don't fit me as well when I got big hair. I don't know if you guys ever run into that problem. I have a giant head, so it doesn't help things. Like I used to have hats where I couldn't wear them when I didn't get a haircut because my head was so big. Fun fact. There's Troy Franklin. I think we're cool with this quarterback room. Opens things up for like, again, this wide receiver then, and then going 3 tight end. Throwing those darts. I usually just play the ADP game whenever I have like 2 guys that I want from a stack left to go. So I'll pick, Chig would go first because he's next on the board. He's the highest ranked tight end, but these 2 teams have this team has 3, the other team has 2. This team has Mark Andrews and Jonnu, Noah Fant, and Pat Freiermuth. I mean, maybe the Fant Freiermuth team, maybe this team does it and goes, oh no, they have 3, never mind. Jake Ferguson too. This is the Ferguson team. They won't go Chig. All right. So we played it right. We got a little stacking partner with Will Levis and Chig Okonkwo. We can throw a dart in the last round. If we get Tyler Boyd, we can throw a dart at another tight end. That would be the move. That would be the play. Now, if we don't get Boyd, I might just take best wide receiver available, like a Jalen McMillan if he's there. Maybe get a Javon Baker, pair him with Hunter Henry. And then we can just kind of have fun with the last tight end that we pick. If you guys have any favorites, maybe like a Colby Parkinson to go with Blake Corum. Or Washington's could go Jawan. All right, there we go. We got the Titan stack. This is coming together. It's coming together. I like this team. Look at these picks. Colby. Colby's kind of fun. The Colby Parkinson thing. Usually get him when I have Stafford. Jatavian Sanders. We don't have really any piece there though. Sanders, though, standalone, I think would maybe be my pick. They do get Dallas. Hey now. They get Dallas in week 15. What do you guys think of Jatavian Sanders and going that route? You get like the whole season goes by. We're not using Sanders that much in our lineup, but then it's like rookie tight end gets more work down the stretch. Are you factoring in good weather / indoor matchups for week 15 to 17? To some degree, problem is like, I think that people overstate our knowledge this time of year, where we are right now, right? Like, look at last year with the Jets and Browns. No one wanted that game, and that game blew up with Flacco. It just is, you're trying to get the correlation first and foremost. Like that New England Chargers game, people are going to be like, no, I don't want anything to do with that. But that game could easily end up scoring a lot of points. Josh Norris loves Tommy Tremble, does he? Yeah, I mean, he knows his Panthers. I haven't drafted a ton of Sanders. I just think it's interesting. An interesting pick. Maybe we go Parkinson and we let Josh Norris win that one. Because he knows his Panthers. Well, it was the Flacco revenge game on the Jets. Yeah, exactly. I'm glad we were able to run back this Jacksonville stack that we were building. We get cheaper Titans players, but Levis could still have a big game in that week 17 matchup with Hopkins and Ridley doing fine. Maybe not like blow up games from them, but just fine. And then we bring it back with, and we also have Tajay Spears, but we bring it back then with the Jacksonville wideouts. All right. What are we doing here? Built a Dak, CD, Cooks, and Smith and Hurts where I focus on week 16 bringbacks for each. Didn't hate the outcome. Yeah, I don't think that's a bad idea because it's a hard game to stack in general. I got Saquon, which is great because someone took Colby Parkinson. I'm probably taking Jatavian. I know that Norris likes Tommy Tremble. I'm going to take Sanders, though, and hope that things kind of work out. All right, here's the someone said Davis Allen. Yeah, Davis Allen might end up being a pass catcher for the Rams. Dak Prescott, Will Levis, Saquon, Tajay Spears, Blake Corum, Rico Dowdle, Jaleel McLaughlin, CeeDee Lamb, Debo, Christian Kirk, Terry McLaurin, Brian Thomas, Roma Dunze, Brandon Cooks, Tyler Boyd, Hunter Henry, Chikakonkwo, Jatavian Sanders. Rate it out of 10. Give me the rating. I got to put it in. You guys know how I do this. I name the teams, and then these are my. See, look, I name them like that. Let's view this full draft though. I'll go to the bottom here. What do you guys rate it out of 10? I'm thinking probably like a 7 to 8. We got some nice value. We got Debo well after ADP. Someone said 8. Yeah. We got a Dunze well after ADP. Not many ADP grabs after that, but we played it right, I think. Towards the end, 7.25. Yeah, I think it's like a 7 to 8. 7. I'll probably mark it down as a 7 because I try to be harder on myself. But I think it's at least live, right? Like I think it could play. And that's what we care about most when we're doing these things. That after the fact, we want it to be in play in a usable lineup. And I think that's what we accomplished today. Hopefully the stream helped though. Hopefully you were able to kind of see what I think, while I'm doing these drafts. I don't know if I'll be live tomorrow or not, but I appreciate all of you guys for dropping by, tuning in. Oh, what did team 1 end at? I don't know. I closed the tab. Actually, maybe I didn't. Hang on a sec. Let's see. Let me see. We're going to look at team 1 really quick. Bijan, Cooper Kupp, DJ Moore. Actually, you know what? I'm going to click the team. Can I do? Oh, wrong screen. Anthony Richardson, Joe Burrow. You got to get Bo Nix after you take Anthony Richardson and Joe Burrow ahead of ADP. You got to get Bo Nix. Bijan Robinson, Kenneth Walker, Tony Pollard, Antonio Gibson, Keaton Mitchell. Is there a Cincinnati? There's not a Cincinnati pass catcher. Did they get Mike Gesicki? No. I have no idea what this team is. Like if I'm being completely objective, I don't get it. There's just no correlation at all. There's not even team stacks. Oh, you got the AD Mitchell look. I mean, Treylon Burks. Thankfully, they picked Treylon Burks ahead of Tyler Boyd. So I was able to get Boyd. But yeah, I don't know what's going on there. I don't get it. But yeah, thanks for everyone for tuning in as always. I want to keep doing these. They're a lot of fun. It's fun doing that with you guys and making fun of myself when I make really stupid picks, which is inevitable. But hopefully you guys are learning something as I'm learning stuff with this Best Ball Bro series. But yeah, everyone enjoy your night. And I might be back tomorrow, maybe not. But if I'm not back tomorrow, have a fantastic weekend.